car's running. So I run probably about a quarter, half mile, not that far, to a late night Pizza Hut delivery. And I called a buddy of mine and I said, Ed, meet me over here in the tennis courts parking lot. He says, I'm headed to the substation. I said, you need to meet me over here at the tennis court parking lot. He said, my last name is Twisdale, so my nickname, everybody calls me Twiz. He says, Twiz, I gotta go to the substation. Sergeant's calling. I said, you explicatives. I said, I don't blanking care what the sergeant is. Get your blank over here and meet me in this parking lot. Because I knew that if I told him on the phone that I'd lock myself out of my car, the entire south end of Clay County would have been parked in that parking lot, belly laughing at me while I was locked out of my car. So there we are, in the middle of the night with a Slim Jim, 2 policemen breaking into a police car. Needless to say, I made sure I kept a key in my shirt pocket. Which taught me this. 1, don't wait till the last minute. 2, pay attention to what your body's telling you. Because it'll talk to you. It may not talk to you in time, but it'll talk to you. And I had to listen to what my body was telling me, and my wife will tell you that I'm supposed to listen to her more too. But I try and take more time off from work, although my wife thinks I've been at work more the last month than I ever have. We've been putting in probably 100 to 120-hour weeks. And that's working 20 and 25-hour days. That's why I said 25-hour days. Because there have been a couple of them where we work between 20 and 30 hours straight. But normally I take more time off, just not because I need to, but because it just kind of helps recharge the batteries. That allows me more time to spend with my family. It allows me some more time to do things that I like to do. I like riding my motorcycle. That's another thing my wife really loves.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago when Tropical Storm Faye was coming through, I told her that going to North Carolina, there's a road up there, it's State Road 129, it's called the Tail of the Dragon. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but it's 318 turns and just 11 miles. I said that was one of those things I had to get done on my time clock, and I drove on my motorcycle all the way up there through Tropical Storm Faye. She didn't like that very much. She didn't buy the whole time clock story. Yeah, crazy is what she called me. But as I said, my family is closer now more than ever. My 2 older kids, when they were in high school, all of their research projects and term papers were about MS. And because I was the obstinate one, and I didn't want to get on the internet and read, I didn't want to look at it because I was mad. But I'd listen to their projects, and my wife would get on the internet, and she'd listen. We'd go to seminars like this. And that's how I learned most of what I know about MS. I learn more now because I know how to deal with it, or at least I think I do, than I ever did at the beginning, because I didn't want to hear anything about it at the beginning. But my family has supported me 100% through all my angry moments, my sad moments. You know, there have been, God knows, plenty of those where you just want to just break down and cry. But as I said, I don't believe that I can't. One of the things that probably makes me feel the best is my shot night. My youngest daughter is 11. She'll be 12 in December. She was born Christmas Eve. She's my official Band-Aid girl and my nurse. The first few years, my wife, she just could not even fathom the idea of giving me my injection, so I did it. And she just popped up one day and said she could do it. She says, okay, I'm ready. I said, ready for what? She said, ready to give you your shot. I said, here's this orange. Here's a spare syringe. You practice on that one a few times before I let you stick me. But getting back to that shot night, my official Band-Aid girl is my 11-year-old daughter, Stephanie. Because religiously, since she was a little girl, every shot night, she likes to put the Band-Aid on shot. I plan to continue my MNX. I don't have any intentions of stopping. Not until there's something a whole lot better. My experience has been a very positive one on MNX and a beneficial one. My last MRI was earlier this year, and I hadn't seen my neurologist in probably a year and a half to 2 years. He almost didn't recognize me when I came in because I'd lost quite a bit of weight. And that's when I met Jason. I was dressed just like I am. I'm going to dip Jason out on the story real quick. I was dressed just like this, but I had my badge and my gun on the right side. And he came in from the left. Well, he thought I was another drug rep. I'm 6'4", so I'm not exactly short. Jason's not short. He's 5'8", 5'9". Are you short, Jason? So he walks in and he sees my neurologist and I engaged in more of a conversation than what appeared to be just patient-doctor. Walks in. It's funny, you can see it, because that's what I do. I look at people, I read, you can tell so much about what their bodies are doing. You can tell he was mad. Who's this guy moving in on my area? But anyway, make a long story short, once he realized that I wasn't another drug rep, he lightened up a little bit. But anyway, that's been almost a year now. But if I can motivate anybody here today, whether you have MS or you love someone with MS, to keep trying, set your goals, keep your sense of humor, because God knows that's about the only thing that I've had to learn to do that's gotten me through most of this, is to learn to have a sense of humor, because there have been some embarrassing times. One of the MS Blueprints sayings is, make my day. If I can motivate anybody here to do that, then you'll make my day. I appreciate your time. God bless each and every one of you.
Well, thank you so much again. Now, that's kind of a hard act to follow. But bringing up the bandages, anybody know the Little Golden Book? Remember the Little Golden Book series? So there's one called Dr. Dan, the Bandage Man. You guys remember that? So there's a support group in rural Pennsylvania, and I love them. And they're probably the first support group I spoke at, and I went there a couple times. And I'm back down here in Florida, and I get a letter after doing this. Now, I did that with them 5 years ago when I was still living up in Philadelphia. And they sent me down the book, and the book actually has an actual bandage in it, which isn't something you're going to be able to get now with all this internet books and getting rid of actual paper books and all that. But it was just so nice of them. I learned something else from this patient group. One of the people, they said to me, well, I don't like Montel Williams. That's what they said. I said, why? They go, because of all this marijuana stuff. MS is something that affects your brain. Why would you want to take a drug that affects your brain? Now, the other side of MS is, you know how they sometimes say everything's in your head? Anybody ever been told that? So if you have MS, you can say, yeah, it is in my head. Exactly. So this brings up the idea that you can find humor in a lot of things. Like, this is a perfect group. You know, I was listening to Comedy Central, and one of the comedians said, when he came out, he said, wow, this is a great audience. Why don't you guys give yourself a hand for giving yourselves a hand? And everybody started clapping again. So the way we do this is we start, and I got one laugh for that, so that's not good. They did some other things, but it involved expletives, and we already heard a little bit of bleep.